It's officially Tua time. The Dolphins this morning named Tua Tagovailoa the starter when they return from their bye and face the Rams Week 8. When asked why they're turning to the rookie QB after winning 2 straight, one source said, quote, "It's just time." So, Shannon, will Tua be the Dolphins' best quarterback since Dan Marino?
I believe so. But, Skip, I was surprised by this move. And what this move tells me that they had planned this all along. They said week 7, week 8, going into the bye week, Tua is going to be our quarterback. Now, I don't know if they anticipated being 3-3. Now, it's easier to make this move, Skip, if you're 2-4 or you're 1-5, 0-6. It's a lot easier to make this move. But you're 3-3. And Fitzpatrick had played really, really well leading up to the bye week. Yep. So I was surprised that they made this move, but I'm not shocked. But it tells me this was their plan all along. We're going to get him some reps. In practice, he's probably looking good in practice. The medical staff says he's 100% fully healed. And they're looking for me, but Skip, if I'm in that locker room and I'm a veteran player, I'm disappointed. Because I believe at this very moment with Fitzpatrick playing as well as he is, and I still have a chance to win that division, I ain't thinking about no damn future. That future, I might not even be here for the future. I'm not promised next year or the year after that. I'm talking about right now. And right now, Skip, we're smack dab in the hunt of being in contention for the AFC East. And so I like the way Fitzpatrick has played. But when you take a guy, and Ryan Fitzpatrick understands this, when you take a guy that high and there's only one guy can play at a time, you know it's just a matter of time. Yep. Now, sometimes you're able to hold that guy off and then they wait till the end of the season and they move on. Skip, this reminds me of a situation that the Giants had. You remember they had Kurt Warner. They took Eli Manning with the #1 pick overall. Kurt started the season, but I think about 9 games in, they were 5-4. And Tom Coughlin's like, okay, I've seen enough. I know what Kurt is. We're moving on. They inserted Eli. It worked out quite well for the Giants. I think the Miami Dolphins are hoping for the same scenario. Ryan Fitzpatrick, you did a great job carrying the torch, but now it's Tua's time. And so, for me, as I said, to reiterate it, it seems to me that Brian Flores and his staff and the organization said, at the bye week, we're going to Tua. If he's clear, if the doctor says he's 100% healthy, this is the direction that we're going in. We took this guy for a reason, Skip. We didn't take him to sit him on the shelf entirely for a year. If he's healthy, he's playing. He's healthy, he's playing.
So, you and I have argued about this from the start, and I said from the start, if you spent the 5th pick on him and you believe he's 100% healthy, you have to throw him into the fire sooner than later. I would have done it game 1 if he showed me in whatever camp they had that he looked 100% healthy. You almost had to do this to stop the momentum of Fitzmagic, because if you let him go on, he's still capable of winning the division for you.
Yes.
Maybe it's one of those magical runs.
Yes.
And I don't know where that gets you, because it doesn't get you towards your goal, which is to go win a Super Bowl with Tua at some point fairly soon, right?
Yes.
So could he be the best quarterback this franchise has had since Dan Marino? Well, obviously, Dan didn't win a Super Bowl. He got to one, unfortunately ran headlong into Joe Montana and the 49ers. But they have had a parade of nobodies at quarterback, and it's a long, ugly parade. So I feel for Dolphin Nation, and I hope that they were right to take this young man, because by all accounts, he is really a great young man. By any account, this would be a great story if he came back from career-threatening hip surgery.
And that was a year ago when it happened in October, right?
Not quite. It was 351 days ago. So it's close to a year. But is it Alex Smith quite coming back? Not quite that bad, but it was career-threatening. And here he is, and here we go. I'm not going to back off my opinion about him coming out of Alabama. What do you always tell me? Hurt in college, hurt in the pros. He was just hurt too much for my radar in college to sign off on him in pro football, because Rex Ryan said on ESPN, I've used this before, but he said he was told he had 5 surgeries. And I think it's probably true he had 5 different surgeries at Alabama, because he broke his left index finger, and I think it took surgery. They reported that he had a sprained right knee. I'll bet you it was a scope. No huge deal, but whatever. Then he had ankle surgeries on both ankles, that tightrope surgery. End of the world? No, not end of the world. So you can come back 100%, but you kept getting hurt, which brings us to dislocated right hip with posterior wall fracture. Ah, no good. And it happened on a weird play where it didn't even look that threatening, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so now what do I know about what happened at Alabama? You have to be careful because in the history of college football, no quarterback has ever had the track team of receivers that he was throwing to. None. I dare you to go find better. Maybe some Clemson teams were close. But listen, when you had 2 go in the first round this year, obviously Ruggs and your man Jerry Jeudy, you're going to have 2 go very high in the next draft in Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. And that Mechie kid, I keep telling you, every time I turn on an Alabama game, he gets behind somebody and catches one. I don't know. He's a sophomore this year, but watch him go. He could be a first-round pick. Now let's look at who was catching the ball out of the backfield. Najee Harris is going to be a first-round pick. Okay, so there's another one. And Irv Smith a year ago at tight end was a second-round pick. You want to talk about loaded? Come on. I mean, it's silly how many weapons he had. And then do I need to tell you that 2 of the offensive linemen who blocked for him went in the first round? Top 10, yep. And they're just loaded. It's a pipeline of offensive linemen to pro football. So you have to be careful because no quarterback is put in a better position to succeed than the Alabama quarterback. Okay? And Sarkisian's pretty good at what he does.
He's done a great job.
He's done a great job. Okay. So now, what did I see? I saw some bad games where he lost his poise, then he got a little happy-footed, then he lost his accuracy, and he just sort of lost his way during the games. And you know what they were? It was the SEC championship game against Georgia in 2018. He went 10 of 25 for 164. His knee was bothering him in the game, but he gets yanked in favor of Jalen Hurts, who then wins the fourth quarter 14-0 and played great and got them into the playoffs, obviously. Then the Clemson game, the national championship game that year, he threw 2 interceptions. He was 22 of 34. It was an okay game, but his QBR was low at 59. Most college QBRs are in the 90s. And then against LSU, I'm not going to ding him much for this game, but the game last year at Alabama, he was 21 of 40, so he's barely above 50%, but he did throw for 418 yards. He did throw an interception. His QBR was 73, which is just ordinary in college football. So my point is, some of the big games, he didn't play his biggest. You always tell me, Baker is not tall enough. He's got to find a lane to throw through. Well, Baker measured at 6'1". Tua measured at exactly 6 feet. Is that going to be a problem going forward?
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, if you look at Kyler, Kyler's shorter than all of them. And Kyler very said, I didn't see him get a ball batted the other night. So you look at Drew,
he has had some batted,
but you look at Drew Brees, you look at Russell Wilson. They found ways to succeed.
I agree.
Being undersized quarterback, and it made it in vogue. I mean, it's because of Drew Brees and Russell Wilson that now height is not even a they don't even care, Skip. Can you throw the ball? Okay, you can play quarterback.
Is Tua more athletic than Baker? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Not that Baker is unathletic. Baker moved a lot better in college than he's moving pro football, and I don't know exactly why, but he's put on some weight.
Making all them commercials.
Maybe. Could be right. So with Tua, in the end, can he stay healthy? I'm going to knock on wood for him because I hate to even bring it up. But the history would tell you he won't be able to stay healthy.
Well, Skip, he's going to have to get rid of the football. I mean, sometimes he tried to hold on to the ball and try to make plays that weren't there, tried to buy some times, live to see another day. But, Skip, you know if you go to Alabama, there are 3 things that's going to happen. You're going to win an SEC title, you'll probably win a national title, and you're going to leave with a surgery on something. Because Coach Saban thuds it up.
He does.
He makes it tough because he says the games are going to be tough. So you practice tough and you practice hard. Skip, and considering where the Dolphins... Skip, the Dolphins hadn't had a quarterback to make the Pro Bowl since 95. And that was with Danny. Dan Marino was the last quarter, 95. That's the longest tenure in which a team has had a quarterback. Now, San Francisco is coming up on... They hadn't had one in a very long time either. But at some point in time, they've been looking for a quarterback, Skip, since Dan retired in 2000.
Yep. So I hate to rain on their parade, but this is how I felt about Tua coming out. You were bullish. I was skeptical.
I still am.
Okay. Well, I hope he's... Listen, my friend Lee Steinberg, who I know very well, he will not take on a client unless that client is top-notch as a human being. Because he doesn't deal with divas and bad guys and bad actors. He just doesn't. So...